Further on, we're going to have a talk that tackles the problems that many early stage startups face, as well as bigger tech companies. How do you attract the best tech talent for your company? And I kindly invite for this on stage Brezak Brkan, the founder of Netocratia, our trusted media partners, and the founder of the concept of InboundHR. He's going to talk more with us about this. Ivan, thank you.
Thanks, guys. I know it's the afternoon, and inbound HR might not seem as the most interesting topic, but bear with me. Okay, how many of you are in the position here of having to hire talented people? Okay, so I'm talking to you guys primarily, and for the rest of you, I'm going to tell you how these guys are going to hopefully attract you to their companies. So, the idea here is how to attract the best tech talent before you need them. Because every tech company does the same mistake that most companies do. They post job ads and they expect people to apply to them. What happens? Most companies are fucking shitty, right? They're bad. They're just not fun. They're not interesting. Like we talk about HR and being cool and being the next Facebook cool, whatever. You know the banks that want to be the next cool. They have the swanky offices. Like, oh, you're going to be working on big data. It's scalable. It's awesome. It's so freaking interesting. It's a bank. Come on, guys. Let's be serious. Anyways, before we go into that, I'm Brezak Brkan. This is my email on Twitter if you want to reach me after the conference to hate this whole talk. And I'm the founder of Netocratia. Netocratia is a tech blog that covers startups and tech companies in Southeastern Europe, Croatia, Serbia, and hopefully soon Romania. And it's been called the TechCrunch of Southeastern Europe by TechCrunch itself. So that's not my bullshit, that's their bullshit. You can trust it. Like John Biggs knows how to bullshit about blogs. So when we have startups, the thing is, most people will tell you it's hard. We're all here because we either want to work in a startup, help create a fast growing company, we just want to work on something innovative that can change the world, be the next Facebook, or we want to just make a bit of money on the side. And of course, your startup can be doing great, right? You started, it was hard in the beginning, you raised some capital, you entered seed camp, you entered Techstars, you found a team, it's a great team, engineering, it's growing, you have traction. Awesome. That's so good. That's so good for you. But of course, the startup life in the end is, well, a series of fucks, right? Oh, we're growing. Fuck, we need more people. Oh, we're growing. Crap, we don't have money. Oh, we're growing. You see where I'm going with this. It's not the prettiest picture, but it's something that, for some reason, we really want to do. Call us insane, we want it. Unfortunately, one of the hardest parts of having or growing a startup, a tech company, is not actually developing the product. Because there are ways of finding users. B2B, B2C, you can find customers, right? But you cannot create that product if you don't have the right talent. In the beginning, it's easy, right? You get a co-founder because he's a great developer, backend, awesome, he has a bit of equity. You have a great CTO, awesome, good for you. But as time passes, it's harder and harder. You end up seeing that there are not as many engineers as you expected in the market. They don't want to work for you if you don't pay them far more than the banks, and the banks have money because, well, banks. And on the other hand, you can't give everybody that much equity, right? It's just getting hard. And you can post a job on sites like bestjobs.ro. You can post a job on Webposter in Croatia. You can post a job on Infosloot, Monster.com. So many sites. That's such a good idea. Posting a job where you're saying how awesome you are, how awesome your company is. Everything is great, like the salary is great. We have like those hipster coffee machines, the best coffee in the city. We have craft beer. It's so awesome. Good for you. Actually, a Croatian company just did this last month, and they think they are the coolest freaking things in Croatia. To some point, they are, because most office spaces of that companies in Zagreb are still a bit boring. But it's still craft beer, and who the frick cares? You post a job on one of these sites. And I especially like it when startups do this, and they expect, oh, the developers are like apply. I want to work. I want to help you grow. Well, first of all, we have developers in Eastern Europe, and most of them are not motivated. That kind of, well, let's say that developers across Eastern Europe are realistic. Unlike San Franciscan developers, which are far more hipsterish, they want to change the world, Americans. Do you know who this guy is? Who is he? I want to hear the name. Okay, some of you were at his earlier session, some of you were freaking sleeping, I don't know. Anyway, so John is the content editor of a little blog of a little company called Intercom, right? He was speaking earlier in the day. And so what John does is that he manages a blog which Intercom uses to get customers, right? It's called content marketing. You heard the talk. You create valuable content, you market it, well, promote it to the right people, and in the long term, it gets you new customers. It gets you new users. They trust you more. They convert. You can use email marketing. You can use guides. You can use news, interviews, etc., etc. You know the story. I'm not going to be talking about content marketing. I shouldn't have put that. Doesn't matter. Although Intercom is a great company, and they have great engineers in Ireland, right? They have product development there. And they attract customers via their blog. What they can't do, yet or are not doing that much, is attracting new talent. Some engineers, of course, see the blog, say, well, that's awesome, and they come to work for Intercom, if they're from Ireland, if they follow the blog, etc. Unfortunately, what happens in most cases is that most companies don't do what Intercom does. They don't do content, they don't do blogs, right? And so, of course, in Ireland there's a lack of developers since every freaking tech company is moving there, it seems. And Intercom has to do the next step. They have to talk to developers and go to places far away places, far away from Ireland, like Croatia, and find developers. And you come to Croatia, and they came to a developer conference, John's colleagues, in Zagreb, and they were astounded. Why? Because they're a cool tech company. They're Intercom. And developers there, unfortunately, to a large extent, didn't know what the fuck Intercom was. Oh, you're a tech company. Awesome. Big salaries, right? Yes. But are you expecting that? The thing is, with every tech company, you have certain brand with your customers. On the other hand, you don't necessarily have a good brand with developers. What then happened is they got in touch with us and they said, look, Demokratia, you know developers in Croatia. They trust you, right? Write a freaking article about this. Come on, introduce Intercom to the developers in Croatia. And in this case, we wrote a blog post that basically was a beginner's guide about Intercom. Very simple, all right? This is what you call employer branding. You write an article that says something about the company, and it went well. Intercom actually ended up hiring 3 developers the same day when they were in Croatia for the conference. So that's awesome, right? They get leads, interested developers, they come into the country, they steal the developers from the local ecosystem, and they're successful in it. They attracted some talent. But again, Intercom is interesting. It's a fast-growing tech company from Ireland. We love beer, we love redheads, we love grass, I guess. And again, not all companies are interesting. They aren't, especially small startups. Right? And the question that you ask yourself is, I don't have thousands of customers. I don't have funding. I don't have 100 people. I'm not interesting. The thing is, every startup has a story. And even if you're a big company, a bank, okay, I told you about banks stealing developers. That's kind of not true because banks are boring, right? Banks are boring. Make sense? But again, even a bank can be interesting. In this article specifically, we wrote about what the Java developer did in a bank. And you know why people clicked on it? We had a little form at the end. Because the question that people were asking in their heads was, what the fuck is a Java developer doing in a bank? Why? Fortunately, some people actually found the story interesting. They said, okay, this is actually cool what he's doing because, again, in most cases, HR and large corporations doesn't know a thing about tech. They don't know what developers actually want to do. But if you, from a tech perspective, write a story that's interesting to developers, you can attract great talent. So, how do you do this? How do you attract great talent with inbound HR? Because inbound HR is nothing less, it's just like a fancy term, content marketing to get people that you're going to hire, right? It's employer branding. It's presenting your brand as an interesting employer. First of all, you don't write about yourself. You don't write about yourself. You don't. Most tech blogs, and by tech blogs I don't Mashable Technician podcasts, but I mean like blogs of tech companies, write about, oh, we did this cool kind of code. Okay? We did this project, news. Okay, that's all fine and dandy. The thing is, people don't want to read about you, and if you heard John's talk, you know that, right? Intercom doesn't write about itself. It writes about the things people can do with its product. The same goes for a blog that's focused on getting developers to like you. You want to share why you're better than your company. Because when your job ad appears somewhere on Epicracia or Best Jobs or whatever, they'll be like, that's a freaking cool company, I want to work for them. Right? Think of Google, think of Facebook. All these companies have stories in the media about how their developers are doing like massive, great freaking things. That's what even the small startup has to do. How do you tackle the small problem? How do you scale up? How do you get funding? Because if you get someone to come for a job interview, they're going to want to know these questions, right? They want to know the answers. They want to know that they can trust you to bring in a paycheck for them every month, every year, etc., etc. This is why bigger companies have it easier. It's far safer. For startups, you have to make it easy for people to say yes when you post a job. So the next time when you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to post a freaking job ad and expect people to apply, remind yourself if you do the same. You know the company. If you didn't know the company, would you apply? No. You see a logo, you see a name, you don't care. The solution is getting content about your company out there. One way is getting influential media brands to write about you, right? You get the How to Buy blog, you get TechCrunch, you get TechU, you get the local tech media to write about you, not as a cool product, that's what you all want, but as a cool employer. Why? Because it's sexy. When you're, there's a term in media called like warm people stories, like people want to know what's behind the tech. They want to know the developer that created this cool piece of software. Right? You don't need to pitch the product, pitch yourself, pitch how you're just like developing the solution to a problem, and pitch how you're doing it. How the designers are using a new framework, or developers or whatever. How you're creating a solution, how you have to like go for farming startup in Croatia specifically, they have to go to over 100 farms in order to do an MVP of their product. That's freaking interesting. People want to read about that. Write about that. Write about that experience. Right? Write about yourself in terms of what's it like to work for you. Free, you can create a BA list. Why? Because people, again, it's far easier to get people that know about you to apply for a job. So when you post a blog post, you get a little email field in the end, and you just ask, would you like to work for a company like this in the future? They'll keep you informed or whatever. Right? It's far easier to get those people that know about you to apply than anyone else. And because I don't have that much time to go into everything, use content marketing techniques to achieve that. Most tech companies do not do inbound HR, they don't do employer branding. Why? Because they don't do content marketing at all, right? Use Facebook retargeting, get a blogger, freaking use traffic management. Come on guys. Like big brands have been doing this for years. It's not as hard, and you can do it. And next time when you post a job ad, it's going to be easier to get someone to apply for it. And of course, 5, take advantage of those that are doing this already, right? It's a new field, right? Employer branding, if you Google employer branding or inbound HR, not a lot of online about it. Why? Because everyone's going to be doing it in 5 years. It's a new field. Either you do your blog or media or whatever in order to get people to perceive you as an interesting company, or some other company will. And then you'll be bitching to me, oh, they hired all the developers, it's your fault, right? So, if you're a developer, and you're like, I don't want to blog about my product to get customers, fine. But do you want to get the best developers in the market? If you do, you need to use these kinds of techniques. Anyways, since there isn't enough time, I did like one pager about the concrete techniques you can use. Go to this URL, it's free, download it. I will not spam you, I promise. And that's it for me. If you have any questions, here I am. Thank you. Should I prove back to him? So how much would the company have to pay a publisher? Okay.
It can be dependent on the country. So if a startup comes and want to do some inbound and reaches out to journalists, should they expect to pay or just try to build a relationship?
Well, look, I come from the publishing industry, so from my perspective, it's nice to pay someone for their work, right? I would pay someone that knows how to do it right, like native advertising and employer branding and so on. But what you need to insist on is that they need to target it to your specific audience. So you need to get them to say, okay, we guarantee that it's going to reach 1,000 developers, because Facebook retargeting and Google retargeting and various databases and so on, you can get your article in front of the right people. But the thing is, why go with other media, not just your blog, because it's going to look more objective, right? Even if you on your own post it and like retarget it on yourself to the right audience, having the third party say, oh, they're doing this, will seem more legit. How that helps. Anyone else? No? All right.
Do we have any more questions?
I don't think so. Oh.
One more over there. You can say it out loud and I'm going to repeat it in the microphone for everyone to hear it.
You're going to do voices? That's going to be fun.
Sorry?
You're going to do voices.
Yeah, I have a question. Let's say you want to start a company, you have the money, but you don't have any employee, and you want to start, but you can't say anything about the previous experience of working. It's the first time you want to start. What will be the first steps you do to get some developers and get the things done? Thank you.
Are you looking, just one question, are you looking to pay them for it or
Scusa, ma non vado
give them
bem
equity
aici,
for
probabil
it
că
as well?
nu ciudat.
Is it just like a big gig, or are you willing to have them as a co-founder?
No, basically I have the idea, I have the money, and I'm looking for employees to work for me, and I'm also thinking to give them shares in the company if we grow.
Okay.
But at the moment, it's just an idea.
Of course, okay. Honestly, what I would do is start blogging about the exact thing that you said. It's a good story, right? Start being completely transparent in the sense that, what's the problem, what do you want to solve, how do you want to solve it, and just like get people excited about helping you, right? Because for that stage of company, you have to have like the crazy ones join you. And the easiest answer is blogging about it. And if they're developers, I would find like the top Facebook groups for developers in Romania, and just not post articles in the group, but actually, again, target it with Facebook advertising to get to those members. You can do that. You can like talk to any digital marketeer. They'll tell you how to do it. So that's just that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ivan.